Hey, and welcome to Ugh, I Guess, a show where I hate everything until someone convinces me otherwise. I'm Lex Basile Price, and petunias is the wrong name for that flower. They should be called Neptunians. With me today is the beautiful and hilarious Brian Patrick Murphy. How are you, darling?
Lex, this is a dream. I'm telling you what, we have known each other for more than a hot minute, but we haven't seen each other in too long.
We haven't, but you have seen me plenty of times in underwear and a tank top.
Listen to our listeners. I have seen Lex. Lots of underwear, lots of shirtlessness, and you know what? I'm a little sad that I'm not seeing less of you.
It has to be for social media.
I'm giving you full on middle-aged golf dad vibes right now.
Yeah, you know how to turn me on. But how are you wrong today, Brian?
Okay, I'm going to go on one for you that I feel quite certain you've never had anybody on in your many years of podcasting to talk about this specific subject. I am wrong because I'm going to tell you about how the song from the 1975 Bruce Springsteen album Born to Run, there's a song called Backstreets that is a male gay romance gone wrong. And the title of the song is Backstreets from 1975, Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run.
I have to say, as a West Coaster originally, I don't think we got the same amount of Bruce Springsteen that the East Coast gets. And obviously very American, right? An American artist. Republicans love using his music. Even
incorrectly.
When he's like, please don't. It's the opposite. But I do feel like I don't have as much back catalog knowledge of Bruce Springsteen's songs, even though he did a show on Broadway that did very well. So Backstreets, I mean, that already is giving me exactly what I think it is. But can you tell me more about it?
I certainly can. And by the way, I think that if you can, I don't know what the rules are on podcasting, link the lyrics to the song.
For sure. That'll be in the description. I'll even put I can probably drop a little bit of the song in here too.
One soft and festive summer, me and Terry became friends, trying in vain to breathe the fire we were born in, catching rides to the outskirts, tying faith between our teeth, sleeping in that old abandoned beach house, getting wasted in the heat. Out and on the back streets, back streets, with a love so hard and filled with defeat, running for our lives at night out on those back streets.
And first of all, what I'll say to you is that for our listeners, I'm not sure when your episode is being released, but I'm sure that you have a lot of listeners that agree with a lot of things that you and I do and disagree with a lot of things that we're seeing in America right now. And I would like to say that you should research some of the comments that Bruce Springsteen has come out and said. He's just finished a tour in Europe, and his entire tour was based around, he gave 3 different speeches in each of his shows about what is going wrong in America today. Wow. And the songs that he was singing, he would lead those kind of monologues, so to speak, directly into a song talking about specific issues that are going on in America, even though those songs were written sometimes 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Yeah.
So definitely he took, I think, part of what that show was on Broadway and was like, hey, I can actually continue to do this and have a meshing of messaging and meaning.
Right. Yeah. And I promise I will get to the song back.
No.
As you mentioned earlier, you're exactly right. Even going back to Ronald Reagan and, of course, the other Republicans, his most famous song of all time is Born in the USA, and everybody plays it on the 4th of July. But if you actually sit down to listen to the lyrics, he's literally talking about how hard a Vietnam veteran has it when he comes back to an America that doesn't welcome him, and how hard it is to find a job, and the struggle that it is, and how awful these things were, and how
we know nothing about this now.
We know nothing about it. And the song is now known as this bombastic rock and roll song, but he originally wrote it in a very slow, depressing acoustic manner, which, by the way, will be in the movie that comes out this fall, starring Jeremy Allen White, is playing Bruce Springsteen, much like Chalamet just portrayed Bob Dylan.
I think in some ways, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think if we think of Springsteen not as a rock and roll artist, but more as a folk artist, I think it makes his work make a lot more sense, in a cultural context, because I think that a lot of folk music in general has been co-opted by a very anti-unionist, everything that they stand for, kind of, in a lot of ways.
But to your point, I think you're exactly right. Like, to the general public, and again, this isn't wrong. It is what it is. Like, it's like success struggles, but like when it comes to Springsteen, he originally came on the scene. His bigger influences at the time, of course, were Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger, Bob Dylan.
Right.
He was signed to Columbia Records as the next Dylan.
Right.
He wasn't signed as, and then he became, because of a reviewer saw him with a band and said, this is the next Elvis Presley. And that's why that aspect, rock star, kicked off. But originally, you can still listen to his demos when he goes in with an acoustic guitar into Columbia Records and records very singer-songwriter. You think you're literally listening to the next Bob Dylan.
Yeah, not arena rock.
Not arena rock, exactly. Yeah. And I'm sure there's artists like that this day too. And of course, I mean, who are we to judge? And of course, I'm sure he's grateful for the success, and there's a lot of things within it. But, that's, the writing does reflect that
heritage.
That's right. You go in to listen to the lyrics and you say, oh, wait a second, this maybe isn't saying what it feels like it's saying. And so I'm glad you're open to it.
Of course.
Potentially.
You said Bob Dylan and my hackles went up because I can't stand that man's voice. The writing, fine. But
sure,
Dylan, for some reason, it's just like, ugh.
Me too. And by the way, when I say that, Dylan's not necessarily my thing either,
Sure.
Right? And so when people are like, but you're a huge Springsteen fan, I'm like, hey, you can't always give a reason for the art that you connect to, right? Like, you might like certain plays that I go, I can appreciate it, but it just may not be my thing.
Exactly.
And I think that that's totally cool, but I think it's always good for us to hear why.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to tell you about this gay song. I'm not even gonna say it's a love story, but the love goes poorly.
Okay.
So tell me, you jump in now, and then you tell me if you're ready to hear some of the story of the song.
Please. My guess. Okay, I'll make a guess. So Backstreets, that's telling me 70s cruising. It's a little dangerous. It's a little sexy, but it's pre-AIDS. So that's a different vibe.
Yep, 100%.
It also makes me immediately think of Cruising, where it was Al Pacino, right? Goes undercover as a gay man. Yep. And gets into it. Does poppers. I know that.
I don't remember the poppers.
He has a towel that they used to soak poppers in towels and then or cloths and hold it up to their nose at dances.
Did I ever tell you, by the way, the first time I ever got high on poppers?
No, please.
We're allowed to talk about this, right?
Oh, yeah. I have an explicit tag.
So it's 2006, and I'm doing the Who's Tommy, the Broadway show in Europe, and we're in outside of Amsterdam, and of course we're all sharing different little houses with each other in the cast, and of course I'm in my little house, and my house of course was the party house. I was 26, come
shocking.
On. Yeah, I know this is shocking. And of course we're all partying, and there's bongs everywhere, beers everywhere, and blah 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 blah. And somebody spills I'm sitting on the couch, it spills an entire bottle of poppers on the curtain in the house directly behind where I'm sitting. And of course you turn around, and I was just high as a kite because there was a whole bottle, and I was like, this is fantastic.
You're like, why is my butthole so relaxed?
Yeah. So there were a lot of jokes made at my expense.
Sure.
As you know me so well, I'm welcome to these kinds of jokes.
Of course. Oh, that's the worst. I've gone into a bar once where someone clearly spilled poppers, and you're just like, no, this is not going to work. No, shut it down. Too much.
It may have been the same night that I was also filled with many kinds of substances that night, because I will have you know that the second we got off the airplane, we got on the bus, got to the town that we were going to, and everybody said, great, we all have to go grocery shopping. And of course, me and a handful of my friends, and not some of them still lifelong friends, were like, we don't give a fuck about groceries. This is long before marijuana was legal in America.
Yeah. You bought other greens, at least.
We went to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where we were living. So anyway, the same night I got high on the poppers by accident, which turned out to be fantastic.
Sure.
I did have to borrow a friend's cell phone back when they were the Motorola's you had to use T9 with. And I remember calling my mother in the middle of the night because I thought I was going to die. That's how high I was. So, I have 2 children.
But no, you know what? Children, you will have, not even just Brian's children, all children. Your parents were dumb, young kids, and it helps explain so much to not lionize them because we all do things.
Some of us dumber and last longer than others. Let's be clear about that. When I tell you that I can tell you that I have lived the full life experience, well, you know what? I am being honest.
Yeah, and you are the person that they can go to ask questions about.
And I will say, you'll love this, and this will another thing that will shock you 0%. So I went to a very southern school in Mississippi, University of Mississippi, and of course, and I joined a fraternity. It was a very conservative fraternity. And at that time, conservative doesn't mean really as terrible things it does now. But anyway, and I was one of the very few out of 100 and whatever guys, kind of very left leaning. And I will say, many of my friends in that fraternity that I'm still in touch with will reach out to me, of course, now that their kids are teenagers, and they go, I think my son's gay. And they will reach out to me and go, what do I do?
Yeah.
And it's like this, obviously, I'm not gay, but like what, 99% of my friends are?
Yeah. You're gay without the gay sex part.
Yeah, that's to this day, I think that's the only thing that most people can be like, except for the gay thing, you're totally gay.
Totally gay. Yeah, exactly.
But it's
which is why you love this song.
Which is why we made our way. God, you're a podcast host. We have circled around. So let me tell you a couple of things. So all the things that you think about Backstreets, and by the way, I think that obviously all the symbolism that you mentioned, right, is true. With many Springsteen songs too, riding around the car, driving, and part of it's on the beach, part of it's on the streets, like all these. But I also think the word literal backstreets, I think this is gay coded in a way that was not, I think he knew what he was doing. I think he's a genius. And so at the beginning of the song, the first lines, he talks about it's the middle of the summer, and he and this person named Terry, which I believe to be a man, he and Terry become friends. And he says, we're trying in vain to breathe the fire we were born in. We're catching rides to the outskirts. All these things he's using. He goes, we sleeping in the old abandoned beach house, getting wasted in the heat, and we're hiding on the back streets. So to me, I'm thinking, number one, he's using the word hiding.
Hiding, outskirts.
On the outskirts, they disappearing together. They become friends, and they have to disappear.
With a very gender neutral name.
That's right. And in 1975, why would men that became this close of friends have to do that?
Exactly.
Unless there's something more to this relationship, right? So, and he literally says the words, with a love so hard and filled with defeat, running for our lives at night on them back streets. Now, why would you feel defeated?
If you were so full of love.
Or even with your best friend, you already, so my point is, now again, I can't speak to what it is to be a gay man or, othered in that way in the 70s, but somebody writing a lyric in he probably wrote it in 74, released it in 75. He's running for our lives. No heterosexual couple is running for their lives in 1975.
Very, very few.
Right. Then the very next lyrics are slow dancing in the dark on the beach where desperate lovers park. And then he talks about who else is there. He said, we're huddled in our car. It's the deep part of the night. We're going to go running on the back streets. And then he says, Terry, you swore we'd live forever, taking it on them back streets together.
Yeah, that, especially the we're on the beach. If anyone has ever been to a town that tends to have any kind of queer population, that is usually where you go. It's not pleasant. I was once dating a guy who we went to a beach because I lived in California. We were making out and didn't have a towel. And then he slowly started to lower me to the sand. And I was just like, no. I don't want to put my head in the sand. I hate the beach. I don't want to be covered in sand for who knows how long. I don't like small particles. I am also not a fan of glitter. It's the least gay thing about me. I think glitter is the devil and is banned in my household. Even though I'm a very crafty person, I don't like sand. I don't like glitter.
Let's also not forget, you and I are both sweaty people. And you got a little bit of sand, and that's sticking to you in a way. We are damn glue for sand and glitter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So she ain't cute.
No. So, yeah, it is very, I don't know. It's one of those things that once you hear something, if I had heard this song, I feel like I'd been like, oh, yeah, gay, right? Even though it's Springsteen. Because how can you hear this and not hear gay things other than you don't know any gay people, right? And we have to remember sometimes that even when the artist might not be gay, we have to assume they know some gay people.
Well, let's also not forget that on this album, okay, let's talk about how revolutionary this is in 1975. On the fucking cover of the album are Bruce Springsteen and his saxophone player, Clarence Clemons, who's a black man. This had never happened, that you have a rock and roll band, a white band. He's the first integrated to this level.
That's crazy.
A black man and a white man standing together. And there are I can send endless videos. Like, it's a great meme to look up online. And Clarence Clemons, Clarence Clemons is the black saxophonist that plays saxophone on The Edge of Glory, Lady Gaga.
Oh, yeah.
That sax solo is Bruce Springsteen's longtime best friend, Clarence Clemons, that was on the cover. And there's endless videos of live concerts of Bruce is this smaller, diminutive white male, and Clarence is literally an NFL football player, gigantic man. Endless videos of them kissing each other on the lips, hugging each other, because they were, I don't think they ever had a gay romance, but they were so comfortable. A black man and a white man kissing each other.
Revolutionary
Beyond belief.
Yeah. And I think that even if you want to say, like, there's no way that this is gay, but you have to admit there's something other about this relationship. So whether it's interracial or, or queer, I think that's what, like, those struggles go hand in hand because they're not the same, but they can relate.
Or for a lot of people, right? He's talking about how they're young lovers, or is it possibly people that are questioning? Yeah. Maybe it's a male taking this person that they have this great relationship with and maybe go out to the beach. And as I'll talk about here in a minute, it doesn't end well.
Right.
And maybe that's why. Maybe one or both realizes they became obsessed with each other, got really close, and they're like, maybe one of them's like, wait a second, maybe I kind of fell for you, but just because you're an awesome human and maybe I'm not gay. Like, who knows? Like, who am I to judge what that fluidity
exactly.
Of what that could be?
But it's definitely an other.
It's an other something or another that's a totally different kind of story than most people would understand, by the surface of it.
Yeah.
And this is what I think is the defeat of it is what I think makes it even more gay coded, so to speak, right?
That tragic gay love story.
That's right. I mean, the next lyric he talks about how they're going to juke joints, right? Which is bars, clubs. And then the next thing is, and wearing our Valentino drag, literally uses the word drag. Now, I don't know. Now, Valentino, Springsteen's smart enough to write Valentino as the designer. It's capitalized in the lyric book, the word Valentino. But even saying Valentino drag, and he says, where famous dancers scraped the tears up off the street, dressed down in rags. So he's talking about, for whatever, a famous designer. He's talking about Valentino, the brand. He's talking about dancers. Like, he was clearly acknowledging these characters are not, this character that's singing about Terry is acknowledging in some way, like, this isn't just what a regular.
No, they're just not going to like a bar.
Right. This isn't like a regular guy from New Jersey isn't mentioning Valentino, the designer, or not mentioning dancers. You're like, this is not like, it's so gay coded.
Yeah.
He says, at night, it seemed you could hear the whole damn city cry. We could blame it on the lies that killed us or blame it on the truth that ran us down. Terry, you can blame it on me. It doesn't matter to me now. And then he says, when the breakdown hits, there was nothing to say, but I hated him and I hated you when you went away. So Terry has found another man. I hated him and I hated you when you went away. So here's this whole story. They're falling for each other. And I believe Terry's found another man, and now he's left the singing, the storyteller. Come on!
Yeah, that, and like, I think there's a lot of conversation around like, let's not have all of our queer characters have tragic endings. Let's not fridge people. Let's not bury our gays. I totally agree with that in the context, but you hear that a lot from people that tend to be younger or don't put it in the historical context. Like, queer joy is kind of a new revolutionary thing that we can find in history, but we have to understand what the context around that is. And like, it wasn't as easy. So like, it's a truthful story, whether it's the story we want to hear or not. That stuff happens. That did happen. Like, it still happens.
Right. And again, to your point, historically contextual. 1975.
Yeah.
We're how many years from the beginning of even the acknowledgement of the AIDS crisis? I mean, what was it the other day was the unfortunately tragic anniversary of, there was that article, maybe it was in the New York Times. It was 40 years ago. Oh God, my math is bad. What year are we in now? We're in 26,
2025.
40 years, 45 years ago, where there was the article that said, rare, was it skin disease or whatever it was, found on 9 homosexual men on the beach, or like, that was like the small little headline.
Yeah. I mean,
that was only 40 something years ago.
No, it was only 40 years ago that it was gay cancer, basically. And
literally,
like, if you don't know, children who listen, I'm sure, like, look up GRID, look up how long it took the establishment, you know, the White House to acknowledge that AIDS was even a thing. HIV was at all. And there's even still, like, thankfully, I think it's gotten better, but I take PrEP for HIV.
That's called being smart.
Yes. And my thing is, I think all women should probably also get on PrEP, because men are gross, but do it. But
Agreed.
what I bring up is, I go in every 2 months for an injection, and I'm very friendly with the nurse that does the administering of it. And there was one time she's like, I'm so glad to always see you, because I never have to worry about you showing up. You're always here. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that like don't show up for their appointments. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, there's so many options. You can do a daily pill. You can do this injection every 2 months. They're now developing an every 6-month injection. But she's just like, I can't wait till the day that we only have to do it like once a year, because she's like, I want to protect these people, but the first step is protecting yourself. And like, it's better because I think like 10 years ago, there was like a lot of conversation of, we have PrEP has started. We don't ever have to worry about HIV again. I'm like, we haven't knocked it.
Well, but to your point, I mean, you're making such a great point too. Like, I know where you live. I know where you live in the city. I'm sure I know one of the area clinics, doctor's offices you go to. Well, okay, I just talked about going to school in Mississippi. Well, even think about contextually, geographically, in America, how much less stigmatized and easier it is for you. And again, I'm not saying it's easy. Like, listen,
of course not.
I'm a straight man. Like, this is, whatever. However, if you're in Mississippi, where I'm from, think about the stigma and how much harder it might be to have that conversation, to even get to talk somebody to access. So when, and I love that you lead from this position to say, hey, y'all, we have a real opportunity here. And yes, things aren't great. And yes, things aren't perfect. And I love this, whether it's realistic or optimistic perspective that you have. I think it's just truthful perspective to say, like, we're still relatively fortunate in that way that we have access to something.
Yeah, exactly.
And good God, take advantage of it while you can.
Well, we can, because I mean, we did. That's the one kind of light that recently happened. If you follow the Supreme Court, like, that was shockingly protected PrEP medication, but we saw what's been happening with, abortion pills and birth control. So
what's your point? You can fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Which is what, I mean, and again, I love women more than anything, but that's what women are finding out, right? We fucked around and we found out, because certain people may not be perfect on every single possible issue. So you say, well, fuck it, let's burn the house down. Right. And you go, well, you're going to fuck around and find out. You're like, okay, like, here we go. But I can get pretty extreme on those things. So, but that's the reality of it. We all make choices and, keep leading.
But yeah, I think that you've made a really good case for this. It's like, it's one of those, like I said, it's once you've been awoken to just the idea of it, I don't know how you can think of it any other way. I will be linking the song in the notes. So
I'll even send you one of my favorite live video performances.
Perfect. That would be perfect.
And then I think you should read the lyrics while you watch it. It takes on like its whole new, and the song itself is very operatic, almost in like the intro is like a minute-long piano solo. And it's very operatic in the way that like Queen would have very, intense.
Were you always a Springsteen fan?
So not through my father. My father got me into like Sinatra, Elvis, Sam Cooke, Johnny Cash. My dad has 2 younger brothers, and they got me into it. And so I've seen Springsteen 40 times live.
Oh, wow.
40 times, including opening night on Broadway via, I'll give her a shout out, one of someone you know too, my friend Hollis Stern, because of her amazing contributions to Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. It was one of the reasons she was able to get an extra ticket for me to go with her, and she knew how much of a fan I was, so I got to be there opening night.
That's amazing. When did you think that, like, when did this realization come to you with Backstreets?
I think I was listening to this song one time when I was this is going back again. I was in college.
Oh, great.
I started in 1996. And then that was the first time, like, I had, I got to college, and then of course I was in the theater department. So,
you were aware.
Yeah. And then I think first I just loved the song, and there was something about it that was like different, and I couldn't quite figure it out. And then, Bruce kind of has a growly voice, and my favorite recording was a live recording. So I was like, am I hearing this the way that and at first in a lot of his songs, he uses the character Mary as a female character because of his kind of Catholic upbringing. But I was like, is he singing about Mary? Then I was like, no,
and then you heard Terry, and you're like, Terry. Oh, it's different. If it was right. If he wanted to, he could have easily made this Mary.
Yeah, or any Airy, Carrie, whatever. It could have been a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think that was his way of almost protecting himself in a way. And now he has actually come out and said that this was about a male relationship. So you clued in.
You were on Lyrics Genius in 96, AOL, being like, okay, I think this is going to be, Terry.
Yeah, exactly. It's just absolutely, that's what it is.
I love this. I am all here for it. And you know what? I've always hated the question of, like, what's your favorite genre of music? Because that's just not how I can do things. I realized recently too, I don't know when people ask me for my favorites of anything, whether it's books, movies, plays, musicals, anything. I don't know how to respond to that, because I tend to look at things like, not holistically, but like, there's so much. How could I pick one? So when it comes to music, I love getting new introductions to music only because I love these, like, inroads to finding new things. And I'm really happy you brought this. I know you were like, this is straight. This is the most straight old dad energy I could bring, but secret, I love me dads. So it's been wonderful. I am here for this.
This is making my whole day. I feel like I'm genuinely getting you interested and excited to listen to yourself.
Yeah. Where can our listeners find more from you, dear Brian?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Brian Patrick Murph. I'm actually looking at that right now. I don't even know if that's true.
I think it is.
That's my Instagram handle. Brian Patrick Murph. BrianPatrick Murph. Yeah, Brian Patrick Murph. You'll see a lot of pictures of me and my children.
They're
my wife.
A beautiful family.
Thank you so much. They are very, very cute. My youngest son is almost 5, and my oldest is just turned 7. And the hilarious questions that they will ask you. You know me, I tend to think that I have a decent amount of interpersonal skills, but they challenge.
Kids will do that.
You just kind of go, that's amazing.
Well, how could they not be? You're amazing. And I have loved having you.
Thank you so much. This is a dream. My goal in life is to be invited back down the future by Lex onto this podcast so that we can find something else just as interesting to chat about.
I would love that. And if you would love that, don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to this. Give us a rating. I love a 5 stars. I love a review. We've got some lovely ones. I can't wait for more. And share this with your friends. Word of mouth. I don't do any advertising for this. This is all through word of mouth. So tell your friends. There's something for everyone. Your grandma could listen to this show. Maybe not this episode, but maybe maybe your grandma did poppers. Adults were kids too.
That's right. And let me tell you, Lex is one of the great humans out there.
Oh.
And I'm proud of you, and I love you dearly. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I've told you that every day, every time I've seen you for many years. So I'm really happy for you.
So join us next time as we once again prove that my opinion is always correct about everything all the time.